It's your boy Crypto Millie back with another one. I want to give you guys an update as we get a bit closer to the Bitcoin close on today, which is Sunday Fun Day. I normally don't pay attention to what happens on the weekend with charts because of the lack of liquidity and volume. But I want to talk about that. And if you are interested into my newsletters that I put together inside the Patreon, be sure to check that for the exclusive content. Again, my name is Crypto Millie. Now, all eyes are on the Bitcoin close. Specifically, everyone's looking at the weekly chart and the 50-day moving average here, which sits under 102. I don't think that we get back close to 102 by the end of this video, but if we do, that would be extremely positive for the cryptocurrency market. Now, if we do close below the 50-day moving average, next week could say it all based on the history of how Bitcoin performs after two consecutive closes under the 50-day moving average. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. I've been a little bit conservative for people's feelings inside the YouTube community and the comments, but y'all don't never hold back in the comments, so I'm not going to hold back either. I trust my indicator, this ultimate RSI, and as long as we are below it, I don't really see anything significant happening as far as a major pump until we can get back above it. Now, we can rebound, which would be a rally to reclaim some of these moving averages, but I don't think any fun happens until we reclaim this ultimate RSI threshold here for Bitcoin, but more importantly, the entire total cryptocurrency market cap. And you can kind of apply that 50-day moving average thesis to also the total cryptocurrency market cap, again under our threshold of the ultimate RSI. The hope here is that a lot of this stuff is oversold and new money and new liquidity comes to buy the dip. But the more I think about that, the more it becomes cloudy for me, because the TVL is also starting to decrease. There was a 17% decrease here on the TVL. If I just go here to my TVL numbers, which was the biggest picture, right? Even though the TVL is up 1% on the 24-hour, the real story is the massive 13 to 14% pullback from 150 billion a few weeks ago. So this again is telling you that people are starting to remove their money outside of the DeFi, right? They're starting to either go back, well, really go back in cash, because you can also see that the stable coin market cap is falling as well. And we continue to get ETF outflows. This is why for the last 4 to 6 weeks, I have continuously said, as long as we are below the ultimate RSI, that we are at risk for a Bitcoin 30% correction. For some reason, odd reason, that seems to have fallen on deaf ears. But I've been saying that consistently. Of course, I'm always going to continue to keep my bullish nature, because I'm naturally bullish on the future of the future of finance, whether you're talking digital assets, cryptocurrency, whatever, right? We could be just the future of where finance could potentially be on the blockchain. Let's just put it like that. So if Bitcoin starts to correct and more so puts this next week's candle under the 50-day moving average, that could spell trouble for the altcoins, because you can already see on the total 3 here. Let me actually go to the total 3. Total 3 is lagging, right? The total 3 is lagging because people are holding their altcoins anticipating that this is just a Bitcoin correction. The problem is that a lot of the data that's going to be coming out from the government is starting to affect whether the Fed wants to cut and pause. And the Fed itself is in a very, very tough place, because if they continue to cut, they risk inflation coming back. If they continue to pause, they risk hurting the job market and the economy. So I just think that we are in a tough cookie. Man, I feel kind of bad for Jay Powell, because it seems like any which way he go is gonna spell trouble, right? And this is why I talked about the grace period in my last video, because there's a grace period where the market crashes or corrects first, anticipating a new policy from the Fed, right? Maybe they go into QE But I don't know how that happens, because if they go into QE, that's just going to bring inflation back, right? Our model is in, and it just gave us an updated bear market probability of 6 out of 5. It says all technical signals screen bear, death cross forming, below 50-day moving average, stable coins declining, TVL crashing, but we're still oversold enough for a bounce, which I just talked about. Not 8 out of 10, because we're still oversold. We're in extreme fear, and historically this is always the best time for whales and people that have money to actually buy the dip. The problem is, will retail buy the dip and have paper hands if we bounce, which turns that into a dead cat bounce, right? Again, on market, the model here is kind of like every YouTuber, right, pushing out the potential cycle to around the time when J Powell can get replaced. So now the model is saying that we could get have a correction, in the next 6 to 12 months could be a little bit rocky, and expect the market to really have that euphoria season somewhere around May, April. You know, I can't remember the exact date that they say J Powell could be replaced, but it all falls down to that next area, right? But our AR model here is predicting that we're in a correction phase. The most likely path is to 80 to 85K, which is also being called the capitulation area, right? The capitulation area. So why this could be a fake out, though, is because we're still oversold. Institutions are not running into cash per se, right? They're putting their money into stable coins and waiting, right, for more information, more structural adoption, which keeps the downside limited. So there is a 15% chance of a bull bounce, but the base case here is that we just chop. 60% chance that we just chop and go sideways for the next 4 to 8 weeks. And there's a 25% chance that we do enter the bear market. So I mean, I know this is not what everybody wants to hear, but again, I can't sit here and baby everybody, right? I can't, right? That just means I'm just being bullish for the sake of people's feelings, and I'm not here to do that. What I'm telling you is that the ultimate RSI is trending to the downside. We are now breaking key moving averages. That these moving averages is why we are considered either bullish or bearish. We're starting to break those, but we haven't confirmed yet. So this could still just be a bear trap. What the hopium here is that all of these assets follow the assets that have the strongest narrative, the ones that bounce back the quickest against a correction. But I'm saying that to say this, the hopium here is that that institutions, retail, whales, whatever, however you look at it, normies, people who buy cryptocurrency, people who buy risk assets, they're going to look at this stuff and say, "Oh, this is oversold. This is a great buying opportunity. Let's buy the dip." If you have money, there's people that's going to say that. If you don't, if it don't apply, let it fly. The problem is, will these people who buy the dip be long-term holders or tourists, right? Because if they're tourists, this could end up just being a dead cat bounce, which means Bitcoin could bounce to 101, 100, 102. Altcoins bounce 15, 20% on the daily. Euphoria comes, and then they pull the rug from us like they've done the last 3 times. In fact, I've seen this happen the last 3 times when altcoins bounce back 20, 30% days, 2-3 days later, we get rejected. So that's all because we are lacking liquidity, right? You can see the CBBI index is saying 62, right? 62. So we're far away from a potential altcoin scene. We're just far away right now, all right? I don't even want to mention that because we're not near that right now. But the hopium again is that the fear index, I think the fear greed, I don't know if this is the fear. Okay, here we go. I had the stock market. The stock market fear and greed is 22. The crypto market fear and greed is 10. The stock market fear and greed is 22, and it hasn't even really corrected. It's still like hanging around all-time highs. The crypto fear and greed is 10. A lot of things are oversold. I can show you on these charts that yes, Bitcoin is weak from our ultimate RSI, but if we go here to our indicator, right, our milli indicator, you will see that we are oversold on the stock RSI. But The difference is we're not printing a buy signal like we did last time, because last time we bounced off the moving averages. This time we're oversold, but we've broken key moving averages. And I've told you guys before, like, I'm not here to say I'm a TA expert, but when you start to see the trend lines, the key trend lines, 50-day, 21-day, 200-day, trend to the downside, that means that's bearish momentum, that's bearish sentiment. So that's that. There's nothing else really. There's really nothing else, right? The hopium here, I mean, when you look at the CME, they might pause, right? They might just do nothing, which might need to happen because inflation keeps bringing it just keeps coming back. They keep trying to cut to help the job market, but then they bring inflation back. And if they pause, they hurt the job market. Yo, so you know what that means? Uncertainty. And guess what the market doesn't like? Uncertainty. So yes, every time I feel like this, I say, oh, this is the bottom, y'all. Like, I'm at least too bearish. I'm not bearish. I'm just voicing my concerns. And every time I voice my concerns, y'all want to call me bearish. And then some shit happens and y'all looking like, Millie, when is it going to pump again? I've told y'all for the last 4 to 6 weeks, the ultimate RSI form, my indicator is king. So if you watch my channel, this is why I'm not surprised that this is happening. This is why I'm not creating a shock value video and trying to keep y'all hopeful, because I've studied this indicator for the last year and 6 months, and it's been insanely accurate. We have China housing crashing. We'll have to pay attention to the SPDR. This right here is another thing for the people in the comments. Let me know if grocery prices are starting to affect your bottom line. U.S. grocery prices have never been more expensive. The average cost of groceries for a family is four is now up to $1,000 a month. And I told you guys, like, when I go to the grocery store, I spend like 200, 300 every, like, you know what I'm saying? When I go, it's like, if I'm going to do some real time grocery, I spend like 100, 200, 300. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just crazy. In 2021 alone, grocery costs surged by $150. This marks a 280 increase since January 2017, when the average family spent $750 a month. Oh, what it was a wonderful time. We are in an affordability crisis, right? So this right here is like, where do we go? Where do we go? Apparently, New York, the Fed apparently held an emergency meeting with the Wall Street banks. There's also been a lot of talk about a lot of people moving from the East Coast to the South because things are just so expensive in like New York, Cali, and even in Cali, like the people are coming from the West Coast to the South. It's like, I've never seen so much traffic where I'm at. There's a lot of traffic. It never was like that. So I know something is happening. A lot of people must be moving from the West Coast and in New York and all this. So there was an emergency meeting about what again? What, Millie? About liquidity. And again, emergency meeting about liquidity. TVL falling off the map. The hopium here, right? The YouTuber hopium here is that we talk about the M2, we talk about the global M2, the money, the M2, all this, right? And that it's still going up. Yes, it's still going up. It's still going up, right? It's still going up. I get it. But we gotta ask ourselves, right? Is that money coming into crypto? Because when we look at the ETF, there's been more. Look at this. Look at the last, what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 days. Out of 13 days, it's 10 of those days has been straight outflows. So regardless if this money is going into stable coins or the dollar, it's leaving altcoins and Bitcoin and crypto. That is clearly what's happening. I talked about how Warren Buffett was in cash, and then a few hours later, he decides to buy the Google, like, at the top. So I don't, like, guys, this is the weirdest. Like, if anybody wants to sit here and try to, like, figure this out, good for them. I'm not trying to figure this out. I'm looking and listening to what I'm seeing as far as the data. Our job is to pay attention to this, not make predictions. Pay attention to this so we can better make decisions. So, TVL, right? Let's see here, 110. So I would look for the TVL to hold 110. If it breaks 110, that could spell trouble. That could spell trouble, right? We just got we just have liquidity issues. There's no way around it, right? There's no way around it, right? Volume on the recent push down was significant coming. This is real selling pressure, not a quick shakeout. Weak bounces on low volume confirm bears are in control. When total market cap falls but Bitcoin dominance stays high, it means altcoins are getting crushed a little bit harder. So this is what we'll pay attention to. We're going to pay attention to the total cryptocurrency market cap and also the Bitcoin dominance. So you can already see here we're holding on to the trend line for the others chart, but let's check out the Bitcoin dominance together. Bitcoin dominance is not going up yet. So, I mean, altcoins are holding strong. Altcoins are holding a little bit stronger than what we think. And this is what I was saying. This is why it's like altcoins are chilling right now. Altcoins are like waiting to see if Bitcoin capitulates. Because if Bitcoin capitulates, the total 3 is going to capitulate. And so will the others. It doesn't, no one wants to sell their altcoins prematurely, right? They like, okay, Bitcoin broke 100K. But is it going to break 90K, right? Or is it going to print 2 confirmation candles below this moving average? Okay, so all right, we close. The price brings down the moving average just a little bit for next week. Maybe next week we get back above that red line. Because if we do get it back above that red line, we're back in business. We're back in play, and altcoins will rally if Bitcoin can get back above that red line and close the week above that red line. So next, I can't stress enough to you guys how important next week is. It's also important to note that we are also entering holiday season. So we got Black Friday coming up. We got Thanksgiving coming up. We got Christmas coming up. Like so in 2022, I want to tell y'all a story. When 2022, right? I tell this story all the time, right? We had the Jackson Hole, and right before the Jackson Hole, I was like, okay, altcoins are about to go crazy because we don't got no FOMC meeting, right? And this is like 20, right around here, 2022 going into 2023, right? So if I just go here, you can see that the Q4 was so bullish, right? I'm so bearish, right? Because we were running up, going into the Jackson Hole, and then Powell came and spoke and talked about how he was about to start cutting the rates, whatever, right? I mean, everybody thought that this was going to be the start of the rally. We was about to jump back, and then we just crashed, right? The whole Q4. I'm talking about people were so like uninterested in cryptocurrency because they was like, man, I'm packing it up. It's the holidays. I'm going to enjoy the holidays. I'll come back January 1st. So you can see anybody that bought during this bearish Q4, which was me, right? That shit bounced back nicely. Look at that rally here, right? It went from like 15K all the way to 60K. And that was Bitcoin, right? Anybody that bought the dip here made a lot of money, right? The thing is, everybody's trying to figure out like where we're at in a cycle, right? And it's just like we can't compare 2022 to this Q4 because this was a bear market and this is a bull market. The point that I'm making it is like sometimes these Q4s do be bullish, but they always rebound pretty well, right? So right now we can't say anything. We got to be like, okay, in hindsight, but we don't know. We don't know what's about to happen, right? We don't know what's about to happen. I'm pretty sure everybody thought it was over down here when we came from like what 120. We came from like 110 and we dropped all the way down to 75,000, right? And we had this like little inverted head and shoulder pattern set up. Is this a world where this could happen again? Let me actually see. Is this a world where this can happen again? You know what I'm saying, bro? Right. So you see that? You see that, right? But it's just like, hold on. It would have to be something like this. Yeah. It would have to be something like this, right? This is the setup right here. So that's the hopium. This is the bull hopium. And we go to 150. That looks clean though. You see this here? This looks clean. This looks really, really clean. Now this is hopium. This is hopium. But this is like if next week, because I don't think this week we're gonna be able to get back to 102 by the end of the day. If we do, that'd be insane. You never know, right? You know, somebody might come through and buy billions of dollars. I don't want to say, but if we get next week, if we can get back above this red line here, right, and we can get, if next week is bullish, we still got a chance. I know y'all don't want to hear that, but according to the chart, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. If next week we can reclaim our moving averages, we could be in play for something like this, which is Bitcoin 150 by February. Which is Bitcoin 150 by February. So I don't know, guys. What scenario do y'all think is going to happen? Do y'all think that we're about to fall off the map from here and, you know, enter a bear market? Or do you still have hope that we can reclaim the moving average and reclaim the trend line and head to 150 by February? I know it. I mean, I'm surprised myself when I just pulled off that pattern there. That was nice. Anyway, guys, let me know what y'all think. I went over everything. It's not bullish or bearish video, just this voice of concern, what I'm seeing, what needs to happen as far as bullish catalysts, and what could possibly hold us back as far as bearish catalyst. If you like these type of videos, make sure that you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Be sure to share your opinion inside the comment, engage with the video. It really, really helps the video. And if you want to keep up with some of my private exclusive videos and newsletters, make sure to check out the Patreon. It's your boy Crypto Millie. I'll see you guys in the next one.